The Orange crushed the Cowboys. The Broncos' 42-17 pulverizing of the Cowboys concluded with an exclamation mark in the last minute as Excla raced 103 yards with the longest touchdown interception return in the franchise's storied history. The whale got Captain Ahab. Captain Akid harpooned the whale. How about them horses? Thunder, lightning, and the Cowboys couldn't interrupt the Broncos' mile-highest scoring total since 2014's final regular season game 47-14 over the Raiders. Welcome back, Big O, to unite with the Big D against Dallas. For example, C.J. Anderson finished with 110 more rushing yards than Ezekiel Elliott. Elliott had 8 meager yards. For another example, the premier cornerback duo in the NFL had 2 picks of Dak Prescott as the Cowboys quarterback suffered his worst defeat in the pros. For one additional example, the Broncos lines, offensive and defense, dominated and decimated the Backstreet Boys. The renovated offensive line, even with the loss of rookie Garrett Bowles during the game to a serious injury, created crevices for Denver backs to rush for 178 yards. And the refurbished defensive line limited Dallas backs to only 40 yards. If that wasn't a perfect victory at Mile High Stadium, it was in the vicinity. Trevor Siemian threw 4 touchdown passes, an achievement that hasn't occurred since Peyton Manning left the building. Superman connected with Emmanuel Sanders twice, 10 and 6 yards, Anderson 16 and Virgil Green 2 while playing Manning-like, barking out Omaha and hurry and acting like a 7-year veteran, not a 7th-round draft choice, and guiding the Broncos to more points in 3 quarters than in any 4 quarters of last season. Trevor performed in front of Peyton, his predecessor and his mentor as a rookie, as the Broncos appeared on Fox's America's Game of the Week. Who is the real America's team on Sunday? The Cowboys certainly couldn't contain, control, check, cover and comprehend the Broncos. This blowout reminded me of Super Bowl XII in New Orleans, in reverse, when the Broncos were drubbed. Dak couldn't complete a pass downfield, and Zeke couldn't get past the scrimmage line. Until very late, Elliott didn't have a drive, and Elliott didn't have 1 yard. Vance Joseph smiled as he remained undefeated as a head coach, and Jason Garrett scratched his head in disbelief as he absorbed the 3rd worst loss of his tenure as head coach. Skeptics became believers during the lightning delay of 62 minutes and during the 60 minutes of actual game time. The Broncos' 21 points before the suspension of play may have been a game-changer, but the 21 points after the resumption could be a season-changer. The Broncos are playing with a passion and skill not witnessed since the postseason that produced the Super Bowl 50 championship. There is, of course, the Knothley zone. Prescott had 238 yards, but most were garbage. On Sunday there was the Norrish zone, and, of course, Von Miller and his new pal Shaq Barrett playing in front of the retired DeMarcus Ware, creating havoc in the Dallas backfield. On offense, Siemian utilized 8 different receivers, emphasizing Demaryius Thomas and Sanders. And CJ and JC Jamal Charles were groundbusters against Rugrats. A note: the Broncos haven't lost yet this exhibition and regular season. As I pointed out in Sunday's Gazette, the Cowboys are cursed against the Broncos, and especially in Denver. They haven't won in Colorado in a quarter-century, or anywhere in 22 years, and won't for another 4 years, unless the teams meet again in the Super Bowl. Sunday's game was even more decisive than the 1980 41-20 victory by the Broncos, also in Week 2. The Broncos coach then was Red Miller, who had taken the Broncos to that Super Bowl against the Cowboys. Miller, featured on the back cover of the Broncos media guide, will be inducted into the Ring of Fame on November 10th. And he's fighting as hard as he ever did as a coach to be there. Red will turn 90 next month. Whenever I see him, Red's always wearing his Broncos coaching jacket. Last Monday night, at the very end of the Broncos' victory over the Charger, Red suffered a stroke for the 2nd time. He is in recovery. May your thoughts be with him. Orange was all red on Sunday,